Tobias Elwood.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My honourable friend can give way, and I'll give way on him if he likes. I join others in calling 6 months on for greater oversight of this place as we deal with this pandemic. We face 6 more months of hardship, and it's absolutely right that this Parliament plays its role in scrutinising the executive. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'd like to focus on the rollout of a vaccine, which may seem a little premature given we are contemplating a second wave of the pandemic and indeed further economic intervention. But a vaccine is potentially 6 months away. China is already mass producing a product. It's got another 10 others online as well. Oxford is heading into its phase 3 tests with tens of thousands of people being tested, as are other institutions around the globe. But the scale and complexity of this challenge is up there with the D-Day landings and indeed Dunkirk. And to put it politely, Madam Deputy Speaker, we must learn the lessons of the PPE rollout, testing, track and trace. Mass vaccine rollout is an enormous responsibility and we need to get it right. Planning must start immediately, and I have written to the Prime Minister recommending that he consider calling on the Ministry of Defence to establish a small task force led by a senior, empowered voice of authority to begin the planning and design of a draft blueprint. The armed forces have the capacity, the logistical experience and the national reach, and are not overburdened by any current duties involving tackling COVID-19 to take on this mammoth and incredible task. Now, when you pause to consider what is involved, the logistics of shifting millions of refrigerated vaccines across the country, the creation of regional distribution hubs which then feed into mobile testing centres, developing a national database to track progress and issue the vaccination certificates, which they themselves will probably have to be internationally recognised in order to allow travel, international travel, as well as establishing the order of who is prioritised first, key workers, the vulnerable, teachers, for example, and then with more detailed questions about potentially the use of schools to vaccinate the children. All these must be answered and indeed planned for. Now, with the coordination of Whitehall departments, local authorities, the private sector, policing and security, as well as the military support to consider, I hope I make the case for why we need to start thinking about this now. I also believe that the biggest challenge will be in managing the transition period, potentially up to a year, when parts of our society are liberated from the threat of COVID-19 and would like to seek to return to normality, and those who have yet to be vaccinated but still subject to the continued social distancing rules. We need to get the planning right today so we can avoid the logistical challenges that we suffered with PPE and indeed testing. And we can then share that blueprint with other countries in that spirit of global Britain, sharing our plans with other nations, especially those without such advanced logistical capabilities as us. But I stress, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is huge scope for this going wrong if we don't start to plan now. The West was slow to understand the impact of this pandemic, the pace in which it moved through society and its lethality. But Britain has an opportunity to be that exemplar in how we manage COVID-19's departure. So let's task the Ministry of Defence now. Let's appoint a leader to plan, prepare for this complex and critical national project and ensure that we efficiently defeat this pandemic when finally armed with a workable vaccine.